What's up, Ubers? Back again with another video, one that I've been seeing in the comments ever since I've gotten this basketball. How do you treat a leather basketball? How do you clean a leather basketball? What should I do with my full genuine leather basketball when it's time to use a leather conditioner? Well, it's about that time for this one, so I decided let me walk you through what I do so that you know what to do with your basketball. Let's get into it. All right, guys, first, let's get into what you're going to need to treat your basketball. First things first, you're going to need a leather conditioner, leather cleaner, some sort of treatment. I found this one on Amazon. It's called Fiamme, F-I-A-M-M-E, Luxury Leather Care. I've been using this a couple of times on this basketball and it's done great. This product is a leather renovator, even though it seems renovator is kind of a weird word, but anyway, it's formulated and used to help restore and treat leather to keep it in soft, supple, wonderful condition, right? So you're going to need that. You're going to need a leather conditioner or cleaner. 2, preferably gloves, latex gloves, plastic gloves, any kind of gloves if you have them. If you don't have gloves, you can keep it real hood. You can use a plastic bag. All right, I might even show that method. If you don't have a plastic bag, you honestly can use your hands. There's no problem with it. It's not like the leather conditioner is going to burn up your hands or anything. It's just kind of nasty if you're choosing to go that route. Next, paper towel. 1, 2 pieces. You're not going to need a whole lot. This is really just to kind of catch the excess and help with giving an even coat for the basketball. First, let's talk about when is the appropriate time for you to treat your basketball. Now, I know a lot of you are seeing this basketball and you're probably thinking, man, that chocolate leather basketball looks like it's perfect. It doesn't really look like it needs a leather treatment. Well, to the video camera it may look like that, but to the naked eye, you see a lot of impurities, a little imperfections, a lot of areas that, for lack of a better term, the basketball looks ashy, right? Anybody of any kind of color, you know what it's like to be ashy. When it's time to use that moisturizer, you gotta hit them elbows, you gotta hit them knees, you gotta hit them knuckles. Looks like it's fine, but for this basketball, it's time to hit the knees, it's time to hit the elbows, it's time to hit the knuckles. So if you see certain spots that look like they're a little dry, or they look like the leather is kind of worn down and it's not an even color, or kind of an even look, it's probably about that time. Now, if you just got your basketball and you're kind of thinking, when is the best time for that first treatment? This is probably like the 4th treatment that I've used on this basketball since I've had it for a couple of years. When you first get this basketball, the best time to treat it is honestly when the basketball starts to look dirty. When it looks like the basketball needs to be cleaned, find a leather cleaner or find a leather conditioner, some sort of moisturizer for the leather, because at that point, now what's happened is that the leather's collected dirt, it's collected oils from people's hands, sweat, dust from the court, all those types of things. It actually has become dirty. That dirt will build up into the leather and it will cause some impurities. So you're going to want to get some sort of product that's going to help clean that, or at least treat those impurities so that the basketball will have an even feel when it comes time to use it. So with this basketball, let's get into the treatment. First things first, let's throw those gloves on. Now, I'm lucky enough to have 2 gloves. Most of the time, I just use one. Really, you could use the paper towel in one hand, have the glove in the other, and just rock it like that. That's usually how I do it. But hey, I got 2 gloves, which means less leather treatment on my hands and more on the basketball. Now, a few things about the leather conditioner. You want to shake it up, make sure that it's all mixed up. The one thing that I didn't know about this the first time that I did it, I really didn't know how I was gonna apply this to the basketball. This is my first time, right? Like I never, I never had an NBA basketball, and I never had to treat one. So I had to kind of come up with this method, and there were a lot of mistakes I made early that you don't have to make after watching this video. First things first, the reason why I have both gloves is because when I used to have only one glove or no gloves, I would kind of pour this directly onto the surface of the basketball. Now that's totally fine, right? Doesn't harm the basketball. It gets right to the leather. It's a great start for treatment. The only thing that would annoy me about it is that when I would put kind of like these lines, y'all do it here. You know what? For the sake of views, I'll do it here, right? You can apply it like this and then just rub it in, right? And just kind of rub it all the way through. The problem that I saw with that was that when all of this would even out, those lines would still be there. So you put the treatment on, throw that paper towel in one hand. Once you've kind of evened it out, what I like to do is kind of just run it like this, right? Get all that excess off and onto the paper towel. And once you got that, now the most important part, you really want to rub and work in the conditioner. A little goes a long way. You don't need a ton of this stuff for it to treat the basketball and really help give it a nice feel. So really rub, man, I tell you, them elbows, them knuckles, those knees and ankles, right? They need lotion. You can't just hit it with the lotion and walk away. You gotta rub that lotion in, make sure you're moisturized. Right now, another thing that you'll notice, a lot of people talk about the seams on these basketballs are absolutely trash. And they're not that great, I'm not gonna lie. But what you'll also notice is that sometimes some of the leather conditioner will get into kind of those nooks and crannies of those seams. Just go ahead and rub that through to get that out of there, right? Once you've rubbed it all in, you'll get kind of a feel for it. And now you've got a nice conditioned surface, right? Like I said, a little goes a long way. Let's do the rest of the basketball. So the other way that I do it is I'll pour just a little, right? Right? Maybe about a quarter size into my hand here. And then in those areas that need it, I'm going. Now, this may take a little bit longer than the first approach. And the reason why I choose this one is really because now that the basketball is a little bit more worn, the basketball has been used a little bit more, I don't need so much of the conditioner. The leather is pretty much treated. It's going to be what it is. It's not really going to get too much better, but it can get a lot worse. So that's why it's so important to occasionally continue to treat the leather. But what you'll find is that after you've treated the basketball a couple of times, and after you totally have completed your process of evenly coating the entire basketball, the basketball is going to feel slick. It's going to feel, it's going to feel cheap, for lack of a better term. The basketball is going to feel cheap, but trust me, just keep on dribbling, keep on shooting, and the sweat from people's hands, the oils from people's hands, it'll pick up some of that conditioner, and the basketball will be perfectly fine, perfectly treated, and will feel absolutely incredible. You'll remember why you purchased this basketball and spent so much money on it in the first place. But more importantly, you'll be able to keep the longevity of this basketball alive so that it doesn't seem like you just threw money into a basketball. This is actually an equipment investment, right? You want to protect your investment. This is a basketball that, if treated well, taken care of well, will last you a very long time. If you're nice to the basketball will be nice to you. Now, for those of you who have a newer basketball, like I said, you want to make sure to evenly coat the entire basketball. If it's your first or second session, it's important to have an even coat all over the basketball. You don't want to have any areas that were left untreated, because as time goes on, those areas will it'll feel different. The surface will feel different. The color will be different. It's just not a good look. You want the entire basketball to be treated evenly so that the condition of the basketball, the color of the basketball can be even as well. And like I said, I'm going to say it for the third time. Less is more. Once you've kind of finished and gotten all even, for the older basketballs, find those little light spots and touch those up. Find the spots that feel a little dry or that don't feel quite as slick as the other areas that you've treated, so that you can have an even surface as well. Once you've done that, really work in that conditioner. And last, check those trash ass seams. To make sure that no conditioner has built up on any of the seams that you can move around. Once that's done, let the ball chill. You don't need to treat it any longer. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't, it just means the world that you've watched this video. Watch some of the other videos on this channel. Until next time, guys, keep hooping.